If you really loved me, you'd put my name on the house. Or are you just too cheap to trust your own fiancé? My fiancé said with a smirk. I told her that was perfectly fine, as long as she signed one document first. What happened next ended our engagement before it ever reached the altar. My father used to tell me something I'd never fully understood until I got engaged. The easiest way to discover someone's intentions is to tell them, yes, just with one condition. At 34 years old, I finally learned exactly what he meant. My name is Nathan Cole, and my engagement ended because I agreed to give my fiancée exactly what she asked for. Just not the way she expected. I met Olivia at a charity golf tournament outside Phoenix, Arizona. She was confident, funny, and impossible not to notice. I owned a successful plumbing company with about 60 employees. She worked in pharmaceutical sales. From the beginning, we seemed to balance each other out. She loved expensive restaurants. I preferred backyard barbecues. She loved designer brands. I'd been wearing the same work boots for 3 years. She used to joke that if she didn't buy me new clothes, I'd show up to our wedding wearing a company polo. Life was easy until we got engaged. That's when every conversation somehow became about money. One weekend, she'd send me listings for million-dollar vacation homes. The next, she'd talk about luxury SUVs. Whenever I suggested waiting, she'd smile and say, "You think too small." First, I brushed it off. Then she started asking questions she'd never cared about before. Exactly how much is your company worth? How many investment accounts do you have? Is your retirement separate from the business? One evening, she even asked for the password to my online banking. I laughed because I thought she was kidding. She wasn't. You don't trust me? I do. Then what's the problem? The problem is I've never asked for yours. She rolled her eyes. That's different. No. I smiled. It's really not. About 2 months before the wedding, I finished building my dream house. Nothing extravagant. A 4-bedroom craftsman-style home on 5 acres outside the city. I'd bought the land years before I ever met Olivia. Spent almost 3 years designing it. Every detail had a story. The oak staircase came from reclaimed wood salvaged from my grandfather's barn. The stone fireplace was built by my employees as a surprise birthday gift. This wasn't just another house. It was the home I'd spent years working toward. The day I received the keys, Olivia walked through every room taking pictures. It's beautiful. It is. Then she stopped in the kitchen. So, when are you adding my name to the deed? I laughed. I wasn't planning to. She smiled as if I were joking. I'm serious. So am I. Her smile disappeared. We're getting married. I know. So it'll be ours. It'll be our home. Same thing. Not legally. She crossed her arms. I don't like that answer. I calmly explained that I'd purchased the land before we met, paid for construction myself, and my attorney had advised me to keep the property separate. She didn't like hearing that. For the next several weeks, she brought it up constantly. Dinner, in the car, even while watching television. Every conversation somehow circled back to the house. One Saturday afternoon, we were having lunch with another engaged couple. The conversation turned toward buying property. Olivia smiled and loudly announced, "Nathan still hasn't put my name on the house." Our friends looked uncomfortable. The husband awkwardly laughed. "I guess you guys are still figuring things out." Olivia looked directly at me. "I already figured it out." She reached across the table, patted my hand, and said with a smug little smile, "If you really loved me, you'd put my name on the house? Or are you just too cheap to trust your own fiancé?" The entire table went silent. Normally, I would have defended myself. Instead, I smiled. "You know what?" She looked surprised. "What?" "You're right." Her eyes lit up. "I am. I'll absolutely put your name on the house." She grinned. "I knew you'd come around. As long as you sign one document first." Her smile faded. "What document?" "Nothing complicated." "What is it?" "My attorney will explain." She laughed nervously. "Why would I need an attorney?" "You don't." I took another sip of my coffee. But if we're talking about trust, I looked her straight in the eyes. Then neither of us should have a problem signing paperwork that protects both of us. She forced a smile. Of course. I nodded. Great. Then I changed the subject. She spent the rest of lunch pretending everything was normal. But I noticed something. She never once asked what the document actually was. She only asked why she had to sign it. 3 days later, my attorney called to confirm he'd prepared everything. It wasn't just one document. It was a complete prenuptial agreement. And buried inside it was one very simple clause. If Olivia's name was ever added to the house after the wedding, she would permanently waive any ownership claim to my business, investment accounts, inherited assets, and every property I'd acquired before our marriage. The agreement also stated that if the marriage ended because of infidelity or financial fraud, her name would automatically be removed from the deed, with no compensation beyond what the law required. In other words, if she truly wanted the house because it represented our future together, signing would be easy. But if she wanted the house because she saw it as a financial prize, she was about to have a very difficult decision to make. The meeting with my attorney was scheduled for Friday morning, and somehow, I had a feeling we weren't going to leave his office as an engaged couple. Friday morning arrived, and Olivia walked into my attorney's office wearing a bright smile. She kissed me on the cheek. So where do I sign? My attorney, Michael, smiled politely. Let's go through everything first. Her smile faded slightly. I've already told Nathan I trust him. Michael nodded. I'm sure you do. But this protects both of you, so it's important that you understand every clause. He spent the next 20 minutes explaining the agreement in plain English. Neither of us could claim property we owned before the marriage. Anything we built together after the wedding would be shared. Neither of us would be responsible for the other's personal debts. It was fair, painfully fair. Olivia barely listened. She kept flipping pages until she found the clause about the house. There it is. She looked at me. So after we're married, you'll add my name? Yes. As promised. As promised. She smiled. Then Michael continued reading. If Mrs. Cole is added to the deed, she waives any future ownership interest in Mr. Cole's plumbing company, investment portfolio, inherited assets, and all premarital property. The home will become jointly owned, but no other premarital assets will. Olivia's smile disappeared. Wait, Michael continued. In addition, any proven attempt to conceal assets, commit financial fraud, or intentionally deceive the other spouse regarding finances will void the transfer of the property. She slowly lowered the papers. I don't understand. I smiled calmly. You wanted half the house. Yes. So I'm giving you half the house. But I'm just keeping everything else exactly the way you're asking me to. She frowned. No. What do you mean? If we're married, everything should be shared. I agree. So anything we build together after marriage will be shared. She shook her head impatiently. No, I mean everything. My business. Yes. My investments. Yes. My inheritance from my parents. Obviously. Michael quietly interrupted. Miss Carter, your retirement accounts and investments remain separate under this agreement as well. She looked surprised. My accounts. Correct. So yours stay separate. And so do yours. She sat back in her chair. I don't like this. I folded my hands. What part? She hesitated. The business part. The company I spent 12 years building before I met you? She didn't answer. Michael slid another sheet across the table. This simply confirms that the company remains Mr. Cole's separate property. Olivia pushed it back. I'm not signing that. Why not? Because what if you become worth $10 million? I couldn't help smiling. So this isn't about the house. It is. No. I shook my head. If it were about the house, we'd already have an agreement. Silence. I leaned forward. You don't care about the kitchen. You don't care about the porch. You don't care about building a life together. You care about making sure you're entitled to everything I've spent years creating. She looked offended. That's ridiculous. Then sign it. I won't. Why? Because marriage means trust. I nodded. It does. So put everything in both our names. I will. She blinked. What? Your retirement. Your savings. Your investment accounts. Your car. Let's combine everything equally. She looked stunned. No. Why not? Because. She stopped herself. I smiled. Go ahead. Those are different. How? She couldn't answer. The room was quiet for several seconds. Finally, Michael closed the folder. I think we've reached the end of today's meeting. Olivia stood abruptly. I can't believe you're choosing money over me. I looked at her. No. I'm choosing honesty. She grabbed her purse. I knew your friends were right. What friends? The ones who said you'd never truly trust me. I laughed softly. No. I trusted you enough to say yes. She frowned. What? You asked for half the house. I agreed. I just asked for one signature in return. She realized what had happened. She hadn't lost because I refused. She'd lost because I agreed. Outside the office, she caught up with me in the parking lot. So that's it. That's it. You're ending our engagement over paperwork? No. I'm ending it because paperwork revealed something words never could. She stared at me. You don't actually think I was after your money. I looked at her quietly. I didn't. Until today. She stood there speechless. I got into my truck and drove away. 2 weeks later, a mutual friend called. You'll never believe this. What? Olivia's engaged. I almost laughed. Already? To a real estate developer. That was fast. There's more. What? Apparently she asked him to put her name on one of his rental properties. I smiled. How'd that work out? He called off the engagement. I thanked him for the update and went back to work. 3 months later, my company landed the largest commercial plumbing contract in its history. To celebrate, my employees insisted on having a barbecue at the house. Watching 40 people laughing in the backyard we'd built together reminded me of something. A home isn't valuable because your name is on the deed. It's valuable because of the people who make it worth coming home to. About a year later, I met Emma. She was a high school science teacher. On our third date, she asked if she could see the house I'd built. As we walked through it, she stopped in front of the stone fireplace. This is beautiful. My crew built it. She smiled. You must have some incredible people working for you. Not once did she ask how much the property was worth. Not once did she ask whose name was on the deed. Instead, she wanted to know the stories behind every room. That's when I knew I was finally with the right person. A few months later, while cleaning out an old drawer, I found the unsigned prenuptial agreement. I looked at it for a moment before feeding it into the shredder. Not because I regretted asking for it. Because it had already done exactly what it was supposed to do. People say a prenup protects your money. They're only half right. The right prenup protects something far more valuable. It protects you from marrying someone who loved what you owned more than who you were. And in my case, that single signature she refused to write saved me from making the most expensive mistake of my life.